What's up guys, my name is Sean and today I'm bringing you Atlas Prime. He's still Mr. Number 1 One-Punch Man, but he's also an amazing loot frame which many don't know. And if you want to know how you turn your Roken crystals, your Stellar, your Argon crystals from 1 into 3, then check this out with me. Quickly want to go over his kit and his abilities, just explain that real quick before we get into the loot build, just so you guys kind of understand a little better how we're setting it up. But trust me guys, just stick with me here, it's easy, we'll get through it, it's a really easy frame. Starting off, and this is one of the aspects where we see that Atlas is about 10 years old. His passive is a simple one. All it does is you don't get knocked down, you don't get any knockback as long as you're on the ground. Means any instant of also using his abilities and shifting around, no knockback. His first ability, this is amazing game ability. This is where you see him shifting around, hitting his punches. This punch has a 3 combo effect. So how it works, you hit a punch, you hit a second punch, and the third is like a range extender. And all punches have a decent amount of range on them, but the third is like a big area of effect explosion. You can also mod his landslide fist separately. They changed that away from a stat stick a few years ago. That's kind of what his whole kit revolves on. So no mods on here. I think I still have some red shards on here. They don't matter too much. Don't have any mods on the fists. And I'm just basically hitting him here. And you see it counts up really fast because it also goes into a melee counter. It couples amazingly with Narman. This is usually what I recommend on him. And you see this was a level 190 enemy. Died pretty quickly. And we're going to do the same thing with the build that we're going to be using. And you see damage goes up exponentially here. And as soon as we get about to 8-9 stacks, you see everything else through the reach combo punches, through all that range, enemies back there getting hit and almost already dying. And we just have to hit a few punches and everything's getting one shot. Like there was 20 enemies on the field, we had to hit like 6 of them. Ability number 2, Tectonics, is a goofy one. So this is also the ability, if you're putting anything on Atlas, this is what you're getting rid of. This is his wall, so you put up a wall and then through Bulwark you can also roll the wall forward through reactivating the ability. So in practice, what I do is I cast the wall, and then by reactivating the skill, I just roll the wall forward. It will knock back an enemy kind of to the ground, drag it with him, and then he'll have to get back up. I can do this to multiple targets. There's no cooldown on the stagger. I can just keep hitting this out. But it doesn't have a crazy range. Even if you mod this with max range and strength, this wall does almost nothing. So I went ahead here and turned off pause AI. And you'll see there's a brief second where the wall has 100% health. And then the cooldown's gone and then it takes insane damage. These enemies are high damage enemies. So I suggest getting rid of this ability because it's not a big of a benefit. You also won't need this defense in any situation. It's fun in the early game. It's fun if you just download Warframe because you can do a few cool things with it. It's a unique ability. I'd like to see more like that. The only thing we have that comes close to it, which is a little different, it's Frostus Dome. Here's where it gets interesting again. Atlas's 3 Petrify. It's kind of like a Medusa ability. It just turns your enemies to stone and then you can smash them with your one or another ability. Atlas actually has 2 passives. One they don't really tell you about it. It's his armor. On the bottom right you can see an armor stack. Goes up from 0 to 1500, and anytime, depending on your strength level, the target is petrified and you slash it with your 1, you'll get bonus armor and you'll further that stack. Why that is important, I'll tell you in a second when it comes to the augments. We look at how Petrify functions. It also scales with range. You hit a target, especially in these targets, it's hard to see that he's actually petrified, but you'll see like a light outline stone glow. If I kill him normally with my weapons, I get a little bit of basic armor. If I kill him with my 1, I get significantly more. It will also decay here. So a target has to be fully encased in stone that I actually get this armor. There's 2 big benefits to Petrify. On the one hand, they drop health orbs and you can use that amazingly with Equilibrium. And the second is targets will take increased damage. It's not an armor strip, it's a little bit more like a viral primer on them. Atlas's 4, the Rumblers. The Rumblers are going to be the most fun ones. You summon 2 Elemental Storm Brawlers, and what they do, they just go around punching stuff. When they die, they'll drop the Healing Rubble, so Healing Rubble as a health orb, but you're also getting some of your armor stacks. On 100 strength, you're getting like 60. It's not crazy. On max strength, even from every Petrify, from any extra outside, and you get the kills on that, you're getting like 300 armor, so you're stacking that up pretty quickly. Check out how these bad boys perform in real time. Let's take a look here. We summon these 2. We of course petrify targets within close range actually. And then they don't do tons of damage. They can have, like, it says elemental brawlers, but they're not proccing a ton. There is a few good augments here, but the brawlers aren't going to be your bread and butter. So they're not going to be doing a ton. Just for targets, they can lock a few stuns here and there, petrify targets, but it's nothing special. Because Atlas is such an old OG frame, he has 5 augment mods: Path of Statues, Titanic Rumbler, Tectonic Fracture, Rubble Heap, and Orgaze. Let's look at the first one. This is not going to be the augment of the century. What we're doing here, anytime we slide around, we leave a small trail behind us. This does scale with range, and targets in it get petrified. So if we slide by someone, it gets petrified. But since Atlas does out punches in front of him and in a big range radius, everything behind him is usually already dead, so I don't recommend using this augment. This augment mod, Titanic Rumbler, plays into his 4 and it being fun. You only have 1 Rumbler, 300% health, 400% damage increase. I have 350 strength on this one. And I have Summoner's Wrath on, and you still see barely any damage. Anytime I re-hit the 4, I just knock down all enemies within the 50-meter range. This scales by your normal range mods, but it doesn't do too much extra. Check this mod out. With Tectonic Fracture, you can now create 3 walls instead of 1, but they are unjustifiably nerfed that you can't roll the walls anymore. Doesn't make too much sense to me. I feel like this was an ability put in place, or a nerf put in place, that you can't AFK too much back in the day, but you still have these walls up. I don't really know where it comes from. I don't recommend using it. For these next 2 augment mods, they will go hand in hand, and they will also be on our build in a second here. It's Orgaze and Rubble Heap. With Orgaze, you get 25% extra loot chance from a petrified target, since with your 3 you already petrify someone. And here's the cool thing, this scales up to 400 strength, so that means it scales up to 100% chance to drop a certain loot when killed, which makes it the only guaranteed 100% loot booster on a frame. And we have Rubble Heat with my passive augment. When I'm above 1400 rubble, you see that on the right side, I don't have any energy cost, and I'm dealing double damage. I'm also traveling twice as fast to the next target. This is not affected by casting speed, sadly. Well, the cast when you get it out, yes, but the traveling speed isn't. So without further ado, let's get into the build. I appreciate everybody just sticking with me just for the explanations, just looking through his entire kit, anything we can do here, and let's check this build out. So what I came up with might not be everybody's favorite, might not be a huge fan of this, but hear me out on this. So what we're doing is, I already said this, Rubble Heap and Orgaze are going to be essential. Rubble Heap to be energy efficient because we're running lowest efficiency possible, and Orgaze is the basic, or the base of a loot frame. And you heard me earlier saying, oh, you need 400 strength. So how we get to 400 strength? You're seeing 243 here, and you're like, that's not 400. We have 2 boosters. We have growing power every time we use our weapons. Anytime using Landslide Fists, keep this in mind, counts as weapon usage, because we have our, it's not a stat stick anymore, it's just our fists that are modded out. So we get 25 from here, and we get 0.24 times 250 after 250 kills, which we get really quick. It's another 60. So we're up to about 330. With 330 strength, Orgaze gets procced to about 87%, and that's enough. We can go a little bit higher. We can get the clean 400% if we take off Overextended and put on Reach, but for me personally, I'm losing out on too much range. I like running him on max range, especially when I'm playing with others, to make sure I petrify as much as possible, because let's say I half my range, then I'm also, yeah, I might get 100% loot instead of 87, but the problem is I'm only petrifying half of the targets. So that's kind of essential to get that up. To be energy efficient, especially on landslide and any time we kill petrified targets, I'm using equilibrium based together with, since we're high strength, look at all these bonuses from Nourish. Like our energy multiplier and our damage increase is through the roof. So, two more things I'm running. You can run Archon Continuity or Archon Stretch. Since I have the mod capacity, I just put both of these on because they're gonna go hand in hand with our main weapon. Our main weapon are our landslide fists. At the moment I have them modded for electricity, but you can also mod them for toxin to get corrosive out of that. You can put prime fever strike on there or virulent scourge. And what you're doing here, scourge, my bad. What you're doing here is this will proc your Archon Stretch. If you have Primed Fever Strike on there, it will proc your Archon Continuity. So it just depends on you. Atlas is already doing enough damage one-shotting everything, where you don't need extra damage from adding the corrosive proc on him. So I usually just run it with electricity. These are the base mods. The two important things here are Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds, because they actually stack on your crazy of 12 combo counter, and then I run Melee Influence to give me a little bit of more of the electricity damage. And then anything else is kind of up to you. For our other weapons, again, I'm a big fan of this, of just giving the general advice. Use whatever you want, since we're using landslide fists so much. Our weapons don't really matter. I'm barely using these anyway. This used to be my Atlas Cronin stat stick, but that's kind of outdated. So that's my Cronin build, nothing special. I'm using a Nucor. I usually use a Nucor on all frames because it's one of my favorite weapons and it's totally useful and fun. So this is the Nucor build and this is the Felrax build. I'm just using this because it hits pretty hard if I needed to, and I have a pretty fun ribbon for it. And then for the pet, you can run whatever you want. I'm running a Smedekabat. It doesn't really matter. I do suggest having max primed Animal Instinct, since that really helps with seeing where those targets are. And then for our focus school, Narman, of course, since we already have that 12 counter on, since of our landslide fists, I really recommend having this up so your counter doesn't decay, but you're also doing more damage. And lastly, for Archon Shards, you can be a little bit flexible on this. Since I'm playing with this minimized strength because I'm running at tons of range, I have red shards on here, but you want at least 2 casting speed shards. That makes a big difference, especially when you put that Orgaze out. You don't want your friends or your teammates already killing everything and you haven't even casted it because you're casting so slow. So 2 to 3 Tau Forged yellow shards will do the trick. It kind of depends how you're playing with your strength, how many red shards you need. I'm playing 3 here. If you like these kinds of builds guides, I have a lot on other loot frames, but if you appreciate these, there's a chance that the algorithm may not show you these kinds of videos ever again, so make sure to subscribe to stay in the loop. I'm quickly showcasing in this clip in the background how we play this frame, how we even set this up. Because I've heard the problem, it's hard to get the stacks up. How does Atlas even work? This is how. So I first try to gather energy and I try to get my Nourish up. As soon as I have enough energy to put out my Nourish, I can then use Orgaze and my 1. So any targets I see, if I see a big group of enemies like right here, I'll Orgaze and then I'll use my landslide fists to kill everything. That's what gets me these armor stacks. On the bottom right you can see my armor counter going up. Armor counter really starts for us here at 1400. As soon as we have 1400 of 1500, we have 3 casts on our 1, double range, double speed, double damage. As soon as we get this, I'm mainly trying to nuke with my 1, and then I'm using on big groups of enemies, I'm using my 3 to Orgaze everything, to even, I call it Orgaze, it's basically using your Petrify with the mod Orgaze on it to get that extra loot. So this is with the high strength we have here, because we're getting 25 bonus strength anytime I use my landslide fists, and we're getting 60 from Molt Augmented. I'm at about 90% of the max bonus I can get of Orgaze, and I try to use every big group of enemies. Energy is not a problem with this build, survivability is not a problem with this build. This is really amazing. Even if we see an Acolyte here or any strong enemies, it's a 2-shot and that thing is dead. Next up, you'll be like, what is this angle? What we're doing here is on the left, I'm trying to kill targets as fast as humanly possible with Atlas, and on the right, I'm trying to Orgaze big groups. This compares loot to non-loot, it's like base loot to loot frame. From our calculations, since it's a 400% increase, we should be getting per 10 minutes on base, we should be getting 2 Archon crystals per 10 minutes. That's like the rough estimate. Quadrupling loot with Orgaze, we should be getting about 16 crystals per 10 minutes. But we gotta calculate also for the speed. If you compare the left side to the right side, I know right side isn't going perfectly now in this gameplay, but if you compare left to right, kills per minute is about twice as fast on the left. So if we adjust that, if we have that amount of 16 again, adjust the kills, we should be getting about 8 Archon crystals per 10 minutes, and on the left we should be getting 2 Archon crystals per 10 minutes. Quickly speed this up and then take you into the final loot tally. To tally up the scores, this was our fast kill run. We got about 1,000 kills in 10 minutes. And right based on calculations, we got about 2, so we got 3 Archon crystals. On our run where we petrified everything, we got about 500 kills in 10 minutes, and we got just about 8 Archon crystals. Also, roughly based on calculations here, we're about 4 times as effective as if we just be running it without. So Atlas is not too shabby. He is still this amazing one-punch frame, and that's kind of what he's known for. When playing him a lot, because I've played him for about the last 4 years. I've played him a lot while making this video. I've played him in groups and others. I took him through the circuit, tried rolling with him to level 9,000. I took him through the whole Dark Refractory, so I've played him probably 4 days straight. The big thing I'm coming away from, he is a 1 spam frame, and the 1 doesn't always feel super clean. He's pretty awesome for a different kind of loot frame if you're bored of always playing Necros or always standing still with Korra. Like, he's amazing move around loot frame. He might even be a little faster than killing with Necros, because for anybody who's played Necros, you know, he only gathers loot as fast as you or your team can kill. If you're in a coordinated effort with teammates, or you're not playing with any other loot frames, I'd suggest Atlas over everybody else. But if you're playing with other loot frames, or you're uncoordinated with people, or you're just trying to chill out and use some weapons, do play Necros. He will stay uncontested the #1 for the easy ways to gather extra loot, basically passively. Atlas is really a do-it-yourself frame here. The fact of the matter is, Atlas has been in the game forever. He's one of those OG frames. I've said it a couple times during this video, and I personally think he needs a bit of a retouch. I like the last retouch that came in for Nidus. I think you could do something with him like that, but I feel like it's still too weak. I love his base kit. It really kind of synergizes well. It gives him a good style, but I think especially his the walls and the rumblers should be adjusted. Main thing for the 2 would be, maybe you can always put up those 3 walls, and maybe they can always move, or they can slide forward in a wave. Maybe something like that. just to utilize it a little bit, and then give him like a crazy augment for it. Double the walls in size and make yourself immune to status effects while standing next to it. Just something special. Even that wouldn't be overpowered, but since he's almost, as you're seeing in the gameplay, always invulnerable, those walls won't do much. And since you're a move around frame, why play with a stationary wall? That's the other thing. His rumblers, they should scale with strength in my opinion. And they should also scale with enemy level. That'd be really cool if they'd be hitting as hard as enemies do at like level 9000. And they'd maybe get like a certain touch up to spread effects, or to do knockdown more often, or to just have a fast and cool design like Caliban's company, or even Korus Venari has really cool animations, and that could be something based on him. They don't even have to be super strong, they just have to have a legitimate reason to be sticking around. Because here I could be casting the rumblers at any time, but it doesn't make any sense to use energies and clutters my screen. Why would I cast them? They don't do anything. So they need a purpose to exist, or else it's just an ability slot, which we're already removing with his 2. So he basically has 2 really useless abilities right now, which need a touch up in my opinion, but I wouldn't want to see them reworked. Those of you who are still with me, you guys are truly legends. I really appreciate it. I had a ton of fun making this video, maybe just half as much fun editing it. For some reason this took forever to edit, but that's okay. If you appreciate these videos, do make sure to watch these 2 on screen here. It's an amazing guide on the new Nidus rework and an insane build on Stynax. That's about it, guys. Thanks so much.